welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making okra soup. And I know I told you the other day that vegetable soup is my favorite soup, but I think there's a competition between okra and vegetable soup because okra is just simple, it's easy to make, you don't have to fuss about it too much. And this is another thing that I make that I tend to use my food processor a lot. So I'm going to tell you, if you don't have a food processor, you should get one. It has a lot of functions that just makes cooking so much easier for you. I'm a big fan of gadgets because I think they make your life easier, and anything that makes cooking quicker for me, I'm all for it. So if you don't have a food processor, look into getting one. And today we're going to be making okra, and the process of the okra I'm going to take you through today. I'm going to be making the okra in just one pot. So I go from literally steaming my meat and just adding the palm oil, some peppers, some onion, and adding the okra and letting it cook together. So I'm not really doing a long process of like peppers or anything. And another thing I would say is when you're making your okra, you don't want to put too much oil, because sometimes you notice if you end up making oil that goes fried instead of steamed, it loses its viscosity. So in other words, it's not as drawy. And if you're the kind of person that likes your okra to be very drawy, you want to use as little oil as possible. And even the peppers, so sometimes I make my okra and I like chop my peppers with the food processor. If you've seen my FRO video, you see how I did that. And when I do that, I don't want to add too much either, because if you add too much peppers, your okra also tends to lose its viscosity. So basically, the step I'm taking you through today is like a very simple, easy way, and at the same time your okra maintains its viscosity, so it's still that dry soup you want. And I know some people don't like that, so if you're the kind of person that doesn't like that, you consider making it a bit of a soupish okra, like with a lot of stew base, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to show you how I make my okra, and this is going to be a one pot okra. So these are for my fellow easy way of cooking people. Don't want to wash too many dishes. Yeah, that's it. All right, I'll show you how I do that now. Okay, so here I've got my okra. So like I mentioned earlier, I used my food processor, the blade function, to chop this, and that's what I'm going to use. And here I've got my cow foot, also known as bokoto. And there's some people that call this means brokoto. Please, there's no bro in there, kobro and kokon. It's called bokoto, and it's basically cow foot. I really like it. It's quite nice to eat, and obviously the bones kind of give your meat a nice flavor when you cook with them. And I've got gizzard. And when I cook soup and stew and stuff, I try to keep the meat and stuff that go inside simple, because I noticed, like, obviously I started doing a healthy lifestyle, and with every variety of meat that I'm adding, the proportion of meat I'm eating is probably increasing, and that's like more calories that I'm adding to the food. If I keep it simple, I can control what I'm eating better. So yeah, and this is the little bit of palm oil here. Here I've got some onion and scotch bonnet, Maggi cube, salt, and crayfish. And if you have iru, also known as locust beans, you can add that like maybe after you steam the meat. But the first stage of this okra soup is going to be me cooking these two together. And another thing I want to add is, if you don't have a multi-cooker or a pressure cooker, cooking cow food it takes ages. So ideally, what I do when I don't have my multi-cooker with me is I cook this. Even if I have my multi-cooker, to be honest, I cook this ahead. So the moment I buy from the shops, I probably just, if I'm cooking with my multi-cooker, maybe for like 10-15 minutes, because that cooks it under pressure. If I'm cooking it on fire, I'll leave it there for 30 to 45 minutes and just let it steam and wash it after, so that when I'm ready to cook it with all the other meats that I want to add in whatever I'm cooking, I can just cook them together and leave them for 15-20 minutes. So this has been steamed, and that's why I can cook it with the gizzard, because if you know cow food, you know it's a very tough piece of meat. So yes, I'm going to steam this with all the seasoning, the onion and the scotch bonnet first, and then I'll go on to actually start making the okra. So I'll show you how I do that. So because I'm using bokoto and gizzard does not mean you have to do the same. It depends on you and preference, obviously. And yeah, so what I'll do is I'll add my bokoto now and my gizzard my washed gizzard, and all the stuff I'm going to season them with. I'm just gonna add all of that in. And another thing is I don't really cook the meat with a lot of water, and because I've steamed the gizzard already, I don't have to really worry about putting too much water to go with that. So I just add a little bit of water, and I tend to cook it on medium heat, because the thing is, if you're steaming chicken or meat, they've already got water in them. So if you cook it on medium heat with just a little bit of water, it cooks along the way. But yeah, I'm cooking cow food and gizzard, so I've added a bit more water than I normally would, because I want it to cook properly. And yeah, another thing I would say is when you're boiling your meat or steaming it, add your scotch bonnet in. Trust me, it makes a massive difference. So I've put that in there, and I'm going to leave this to cook on medium heat for 15-20 minutes. So I'll set a timer on my phone. I'll leave that to cook, and then I'll come back and continue making the okra and show you how I do that. Okay, now I've been steaming my meat for 20 minutes, and I'm going to add in my palm oil and my okra. So I'm going to add my palm oil first. And I don't know if I mentioned the seasonings I was adding, but obviously it's Maggi, salt, I put some onion, crayfish. Yeah, and like I always say, to be honest, it's based on preference. So if there are other things you will normally season your food with that you want to put in, please go ahead. And I've got my okra here, so I just dunk that in and stir it together. And I know sometimes you buy some okras that are not like they don't go viscous easily, and you're wondering what you can do. I've seen people that like buy okra like this, and then what they do is they beat it with a bit of water in a bowl just to get that viscosity going and add it. But as you can see, this okra is viscous enough. I'm just going to add a bit of water to get it to steam, and I'm going to leave this to steam, and I'll check the taste, because I'll add a bit more water because I want it to be more watery than this. It depends on you. If you are the kind of person that likes your okra to be very thick, you could leave it like that. So I'll check the taste and make sure it's to taste. So if you need to add any more salt, seasoning cubes, or whatever seasoning you use, just do that. So I'm going to leave this to steam for a few minutes. For about okra doesn't actually take long to cook, but don't play the trick of undercooking it at the same time. So just leave it till it steams and bubbles, and you can taste it to check. So I'm going to leave that till it steams. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I would love to see how you've done your okras. Yeah, and I'll leave this to steam on medium heat again for about 10-15 minutes and have a look and see. And then if it's done, that's good. If not, I'll just leave it for longer. But you could add more water if you want it to be watchier than this. It all depends on you. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching today, and I'd like to see how you've made your okra. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Also comment and let us know what you think, and if you would normally do anything different with your okra, or if there's any specific recipe that you like us to record and show you how to do. Thank you so much for watching today. Bye.